Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to today's episode of The Fishing Teacher, and thanks for tuning in to today's video. Really appreciate that. And guys, today we're going to give some tips and advice on how to fish or how to catch fish during rising water conditions, which are very common in the month of May and June. In fact, here in Missouri right now, we got a bunch of rain last week and the lakes are coming up quite a bit. So sort of a part of the realities of fishing, you're going to have to deal with rising water and falling water different times of the year. So we're going to give you guys some good tips on how to catch them when that water's coming up. Also guys, just a quick thank you out there. Just wanted to give everybody a big round of thanks for using my Tackle Warehouse links that I put in the description. All you guys that have been using that link and bookmarking it to purchase your tackle, you're really helping me and my family out. So I just wanted to give you guys a big thanks. And if you haven't had a chance to use it, that link guys, I'll just put it in the description of this video. So much appreciated there. Okay guys, I want to talk specifically about rising water this time of year. Now how the fish use as far as how the techniques and the approach and how good or how bad rising water is depends a lot on your water temperature and your water clarity. But for sake of not getting into an hour-long video here, I want to pretty much isolate rising water to like the month of May and June that we're getting ready to get in right now, because that's normally the highest odds percentage-wise that you're going to have when the water comes up. Every lake is different as far as how much a lake comes up. Some of our lakes here, like in Arkansas, Missouri, Bull Shoals Lake, for example, it'll rise and fall 30 foot in a year. Why some lakes, other lakes, don't rise hardly anything, like Lake of the Ozarks here in Missouri, 3 or 4 feet's about as much as the fluctuation as you get. And just depends on how the lake's set up. Some lakes are just more conducive to that than others. The other factor, there's a couple different factors you have to consider. One is the type of cover that gets flooded out, and number two is the water clarity you have in correlation with that flooded cover and how much water is in the flooded cover. There's a lot of different variables, because if, say for example, if the water is only 2 feet high and there's 2 foot of water in the flooded bushes and trees, that's going to be a different condition than if the water is 20 foot high as far as how you want to fish it. So let's talk about some generalities here. First of all, I want to give you guys what I consider the ideal flooded conditions to catch fish in the flooded cover in. And that would be where you have water visibility of about probably around 2 feet, and you've got say 3 to 5 foot of water in the flooded cover. That's a perfect scenario for flipping, pitching, throwing spinner baits, throwing chatter baits, all that type of stuff. Most of the time those fish are going to be in the middle of that thicker stuff, and you can flip a jig or a creature bait into there, let it go to the bottom and work it. Now, if you have higher water, let's say for example the water is 10 feet high, that's going to present some different challenges too, because if the water is stained or off colored, it's going to put those fish in shallower flooded cover. So you may have some deeper cover out on the edge of the trees that are maybe in 6-7 foot of water. But if the water visibility is like 12 inches, that's not going to be any good. You're going to have to get up and find that cover that's in 2 to 3 foot of water. So sometimes you got to work your way back in the flooded cover and get into that right water depth in correlation with the water visibility. Now, if the water is really clear, say the water visibility, I've seen it sometimes you got 5 or 6 foot of clarity, and the water, if it's 10 or 15 feet high, you can still catch them flipping and pitching in those deep trees as well. I remember I fished a tournament with a friend of mine many years ago down at Bull Shoals Lake, and the water was 30 feet high, 30 feet above normal. So you had a lot of like sycamore trees and flooded trees that were completely underwater, but the water was super clear. We had like 10 foot of water visibility, so you could look down in the water, you could almost see this whole tree, and we were catching fish flipping in the middle of those trees, peeling our jigs down, letting them go 30 foot down on the bottom, and those fish were at the base of those trees in 30 foot of water in that clear water. And then sometimes I've caught them suspended. They'll be suspended in the limb, so it just really depends on the scenario that you have. But to keep the video from getting over too long here, here's a general rule of thumb what you want to remember as far as the depth of fish versus water clarity. If the water visibility that you're fishing is say 1 to 2 foot visibility, try to stay in the cover that's in 1 to 4 foot of visibility. If the water visibility is like say 2 to 5 foot, you can work down farther into that 5 or 6 foot zone. And if the water visibility is like greater than 5 feet, there's no limit to it. You can catch them 20 foot deep in the flooded cover. Primary techniques, my favorite is flipping and pitching, either a creature bait or a jig, followed up by a chatterbait or a spinnerbait. Top water, like a walking top water, can work really good around the flooded cover too. So there's just a lot of variables to it, and I'll probably do an extended seminar on this. In fact, on my other channel, Advanced Bass Fishing Guys, I might do that this week, where I'm going to go into detailed explanation on every possible scenario, 12 months out of the year, specific water visibilities versus specific water depths, give you guys a breakdown of the lures and how to approach it and everything, because it's well worth knowing, because if you're going to fish, eventually you're going to run into high water. So hope it helps out. We'll talk later.